For the past 2.5 decades, I've had the pleasure of traveling the globe studying human connection. People, not for judgment or criticism, but just for observation. And here's what the research shows. The research shows that human connection is one of the greatest gifts that we can have in life. The research also shows that we as humans sometimes are the biggest obstacles to human connection. About 24 years ago, I was in a post office in Los Angeles, California, and it was a large post office, and there was a lot of customers that morning. It was a Saturday morning, and I was in one of those lines that they kind of snake you, right? Like an airport line, they kind of have these lines, and so I'm just waiting in line, just making headway up to the front, and I'm watching an interesting conversation take place at one of the windows. It happened to be an employee and a customer, and they were arguing over the price of a package to mail. And I'll never forget, in my mind's eye, it was 13 minutes they were having this conversation about how much it should cost to mail this package. Well, I just kept snaking my way through the line. I got up to the front. It kind of had a little sign there that said, "Please wait here for the next window." And then that customer stormed off, and that window became open. So I walked up to that window, and I'm sure the Postal Service does a good job of doing customer service training. They probably say how to greet somebody or ask how they can help today. But this gentleman, this employee, just kind of looked down at the carpet just like this. And it felt like 10 minutes, but it was probably 10 seconds. And he looked up, and he didn't say anything. He looked me dead square in the eye, and he said, "I swear, half the world's on acid." And I thought, that's an idea. That is an idea to explore, right? Do you ever feel that way? Do you ever feel that sometimes, no matter, you just watch how people react or watch what people do, and you say to yourself, what are they thinking? Right? And so as I began to explore this, it became interesting to me about how we unknowingly, unconsciously, unintentional, sometimes create gaps in human connection versus building bridges. Let me give you some context for a second. I could put a movie on this screen, and I could make an argument not one person in here is watching the same movie. You're all watching it through your perception, through your experiences, through your history, through your beliefs, through what's happening currently in your environment today. And I might not ever know what movie you're watching. We're seeing the same thing, but we're watching something completely different. And we will judge others based on the movie we're watching versus the movie they're watching. Human connection can be the greatest joy. It can also be our biggest frustration. You probably all have somebody that no matter how hard you try, it's hard to connect with that person. Don't look around if they're in here. And on the flip side of that, you also have people within your relationships that no matter if it's been a decade, you can pick up just like it was yesterday. That's fascinating to me. And also, human connection is contagious. How many people would agree, by a show of hands, that attitude and energy are contagious? Right? Anybody know those types of people that when they come into a room, the room brightens up a little bit? Anybody know those types of people when they leave the room brightens up a lot? Right? So again, it does have a contagion. We're contagious on others. But let me get back to this point that sometimes humans are the biggest obstacle. Not anybody in here, don't take offense, people outside this auditorium. But there's really 3 reasons. Number one, I think we take it for granted. We take relationships for granted. Number two, just the everyday noise in the landscape that's going on today and the technology. And number three, our own perception. Let me talk about those three just for a second. So when it comes to taking things for granted, like anything that's important to us in life, sometimes we take it for granted. I know I do. When I got married about 20 years ago, I asked my dad, who's a big mentor of mine, I said, how often and when should I tell my wife I love her? And he said something so profound. He said, I would probably do it before somebody else does. Right? Like, don't take that for granted. Right? But sometimes I do. I'm human. I'm coming at you human to human today. Sometimes I'll be coming home from a trip and I'll be thinking to myself, I need to tell Sarah how much I love her, how much I appreciate her, all she does for the family, because I'm gone a lot working on the business. And I'll pull into the driveway and I'll pull into the garage and something will stop me. Something will tell me. She already knows that. You don't need to tell her that. Like, I'll almost convince myself not to say it. Also, sometimes we take relationships for granted and then it's too late. 10 years ago, I lost a dear connection of mine, my father-in-law, Mike. And I immediately had a case of I wish I would have, right? I wish I would have told him how much I loved him. I wish I would have told him how much I appreciate him. I wish I would have told him how much he did for our family. So we take things for granted. And then there's the everyday environment today that seems to create so much division and divide in the technology. We've never been more connected, but never been more separate. And then our own perception. The CIA did an interesting study that said we either live in perception or perspective. Perception is the movie we're watching. Perspective is trying to see the movie others are watching. And the scary statistic about that study is they say that 98% of the population lives in perception. And we make judgments on others based on our perception. Think about traffic, right? You judge others, me too, we judge others based on their character when they cut us off in traffic. That person is you fill in the blank. But when we cut somebody off in traffic, we base it on circumstance. I'm sorry, I know I shouldn't, but I'm late. I need to pick up the kids. I'm late for the work. I'm late to go home. Rarely when somebody cuts me off do I say, that person's probably just late. So we judge others. We begin to judge others, and we set expectations on others based on the movie we're watching. When in fact, when we move to perception, we don't have to agree. It's just about understanding and trying to see the movie they're watching so we can meet them where they're at to create a bridge, not a gap in connection. So here's the idea we're spreading, the pivot. What if we, instead of unconsciously, became conscious? What if we, instead of unintentionally, became intentional about creating greater human connection? What about if we didn't take our relationships for granted? What about if we eliminated the noise and not allowed the divisiveness today to separate some friendships and some families? What if we tried to get out of our own movie and try to see it how others see it? Again, not to agree, but just maybe give a little bit of grace. Harvard did a study, it's called the happiness study. And they follow people for years. And they've tried to find out what makes human beings happy. And they came up with the number one factor is human connection. The ability to connect with others. So the challenge is this. Act. Today. Make the phone call. Send the text. Tell others how you feel about them. Don't take it for granted. Eliminate the noise. Put the phones down. Make a connection. And instead of trying to watch our movie, just for today, maybe see what others are seeing. Maybe try to understand where they're coming from. Maybe try to see it from their lens. Because the little acts we make in human connection can make a huge difference. The acts we do today just might change somebody's life for a lifetime, including ours. And if we would all act today, we might just make the world a little brighter and a little better. Thank you.